Welcome back to session. This is session number 5 of Eve of the Lore of Skylanders. Now, we finished the Alliance era. A lot of Skylanders came in, a lot of Skylanders disappeared. So, we are finally on the era where we get to actual game things that you do. And I need to explain something. But I'll explain that when we get to the relevant parts. So, let's look at our timeline. As I mentioned, we're on part 5. We just finished the Alliance era. Now, let's get to the main games. This era, I like to call here, is the era of Other Worlds. And I decided to split this into 2 parts, because this is a lot of relevant stuff, because this stuff is canon to the mainline games, and we're gonna start to get some weird shit. Sorry for the cursing there, but anyways. I just realized this is the only time I cursed in this series. Anyways. We start off right before, but we need to get a little bit thinking first. There's been a lot of battles against Eon and Chaos. The last one that happened before the first game is that he gets banished to the Outlands, and apparently in some of the backstories, there's a group of them that keeps guard of the Outlands. But anyways, it's time to finally get relevant. The destruction of the Core of Light, as you see from the cutscene from the first game, the very first cutscene. You know, Chaos fights Eon for a bit, the Skylanders fight some enemies, then Chaos brings in Plan Z and blows up the core. And there's something special about that happening. Because Chaos blew up the core, not only Skylanders disappear, but also there's no more light and dark elements. You may be asking, what are you talking about? How could that happen? It's because, one, Eon has a niece, as I mentioned before. She's in the light element, meaning light element existed in most of this timeline. That accounts for the dark element too. So meaning, at some point, the light element must have had to disappear. And the only logical reason is maybe because the Core of Light exploded. Where most natural light came from. So, you rebuild it. Right? So no light and dark element. No more Skylanders. And then SSA happens, the rest of it. Now there's no more naturally occurring light, but we have the core back. So we have artificial light, basically. Then after that comes the Skylanders Giants. Mostly the same things. Basically, Archeans reactivate by Chaos, he returns, and you know, basically all the stuff that happens there. Swap Force, same here, same case. But one more thing that happens between Track Team and Swap Force. Cloudcracker Prison gets destroyed. We know how this happens. It took me a bit to realize, but if Cloudcracker Prison returns, that means he remembers the light and dark elements return. But here's the specific thing. The reason why Eon does not remember or the light and dark elements, and why he says they're 2 entirely new elements, even though he has a niece from the light element, is because they're banished. Not just the elements themselves, but the whole thought of light and dark being elements, gone. Just gone from memory. That's how big this explosion was. It made an entirely different dimension. Those are the light and dark realms. We find this out in the comics. Specifically the introductory comic of Nightlight and Nightmare. But so, Cracker Prison gets destroyed. These were basically the last Skylanders that were there. But, you know, their job is to keep an eye on Cracker Prison. Make sure those villains don't escape. But now it's destroyed. Now they're sent to Earth, as well as the traps. Now, that means one thing. Tritanium usually captures any types of things. Energy, living organisms, matter. It doesn't matter. It can go in. Tritanium can absorb anything. So, what is some of the things that Tritanium could absorb? Elements. So it brings it back. That meaning naturally occurring light and naturally occurring darkness have returned. Because Cracker Prison got destroyed. Parts of those elements got shattered out. As a result, naturally occurring light and darkness again. Not as much as before, but still some. But we got to get it here. So, Trat Team and Superchargers are the most complicated parts of the timeline because they make no other sense. Because how does Chaos return its Superchargers when Chaos is in a trap? And how does Imaginators has a second Chaos when we already have Chaos? That's important. And I do still need to explain what this other said realm is. It's Earth. The other realm is Earth. Which is where they went. That's where the Skylanders went. Wait for me. Skylands to Earth. Anyways. There's more realms, but those will be off on spin-offs. So, this part, the whole separate timelines part, I am putting in its own video because it's complicated, and we're already like 7 minutes long, longer than most of these videos. So, but I just need to say one thing. There's a universe where we win, there's a universe where we lose. So, separate timeline branches. And that's what we'll be talking about next session on our bracket. You may close your books and get out of your seats.